Good afternoon. My name is Jim Mulder. I'm the Lieutenant Governor candidate for the Independence Party. And Representative Garofalo did a really nice job of laying out the issue. And oftentimes, if I was giving my traditional speech, I would tell you all about that stuff. But what I will tell you, and I'm not going to do that, but because we are going to balance the budget. We're going to raise taxes about $2.1 billion. We're going to cut spending by about $2.5 billion. We're going to invest in the things we need to invest in. And we're going to, that part, you can ask me all the questions you want. But this election for you people should not be about that stuff, that math. This election needs to be about where Minnesota is going to be 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now. One of the candidates for governor will move us a couple steps to the left. One of the candidates for governor is going to move us a couple steps to the right. We deserve better than that. We deserve to move 2 steps forward. You folks deserve people who are in the governor's office that don't care about the next election. You people deserve somebody in the governor's office who's more concerned about getting it right, to do the right things, than rather winning the argument. This election needs to be about dealing with the graduation rates of people of color in North Minneapolis and understanding it is not about the school building. It's not about that building. It's about what are we doing in that building. How are we treating those young men and women? How come they're not getting the education that they need? That's what this election is about. This election is about caring for young men and young women who are looking for jobs. It's caring about you folks. It's about making sure that next generation of jobs are here in Minnesota. There are things we can do. We can't let the perfect get in the way of the good, because if we hold out for the perfect, we're not going to get there. I'll give you a great example. Target Corporation wanted to build a distribution center down in southern Minnesota. Had it all worked out. All the financing. There's 350 Minnesota jobs. Minnesota Corporation, great deal. It's going to take 2 years for the state to give them the permits to build that building. They built it in Iowa because they could get the permits in 6 months. Was Iowa perfect? No. But we strove for perfection. They have the same rules that we have. But it was going to take us 2 years to get this. This election is about taking care of our parents and our grandparents. We can't cut $2 billion from Health and Human Services and expect our parents and our grandparents to be taken care of. We have a candidate who says, well, we'll do charity care. We'll have them all come into our homes. That was a great program back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. But you know, one of the things he forgets is the average life expectancy was 70. The world has changed, and we have failed you. My generation has failed you. We have not positioned Minnesota for your success. You will be the first generation that actually has a lower wealth potential than anyone before you. We need to change. I retired from my job in last April after 21 years with the Association of Minnesota Counties. There were a lot of reasons. Actually, the biggest reason was I'm getting my doctorate in public administration. Because I got tired of the argument. I got tired of the guys on the left yelling at the guys on the right, and then in between, people sitting there going, keep your head down because the hand grenades are going over the top. This election is about you. You cannot pass up the opportunity that is presented right now. There is a reason that every major newspaper that has already done endorsements in the state of Minnesota have endorsed Tom Horner. The Minneapolis Tribune, the Duluth News, the the Bemidji Pioneer, the Grand Forks Herald, the Fargo Forum, the McLeod County Chronicle. I can go around the state, the 19 ECM papers. There is not a single major newspaper that has endorsed one of the other candidates. And in every one of those endorsements, they say three things. This election is about leadership, who is best able to move the state forward. Secondly, this is about temperament. Who actually can sit down and bring people of Minnesota together to share a new vision to move us forward. And the third is competence. Finally, what I will tell you is that this election is about the fundamentals of a Minnesota where I want to live, I want to grow old, I want to raise my kids, I want to have my job, and I want to recreate. This election is about you guys. Now, I have a very selfish reason for that.
Got about 30 seconds.
Okay. I have a very selfish reason for that. Is because you folks are going to have to take care of me someday. Because I'm getting old. I want you to be successful. And I want you the jobs that you should have. With that, I try to answer the questions that I think you have.
Yeah, so just for giving a time instance to you guys, we're just going to stick to these questions. And if you guys want to contact the campaigns any further, I have all the contact information that you can get to me at a later date. So the first question is, what characteristics do you look for in the Minsky Board of Trustees?
First and most important is leadership. Nothing happens in this state unless you have leaders. If you do not have trustees in the Minsky board that are standing up for you, that care more about you than they care about anything else, you will not be successful. The failure of the Minsky board right now is that they are more concerned in a couple cases about the political discussion than they are about having the leadership and being advocates for what you folks want. That is the single most thing. The second most important thing is to have knowledge about what you're going through and have a vision. We have, in my generation, we are tied to an audit function. We love looking backwards and telling everybody how great we were. You need people on the Minsky board that are looking forward and talking about how great you're going to be.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Figuring out logistics right now. As governor, what will you do to protect community colleges from budget cuts?
First thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you are not swallowed up by the four-year colleges. Unfortunately, right now, the system is being driven by people, your chancellor or the president of Minsky. Their vision is, and No Child Left Behind, all that stuff, is a vision of a four-year college. We have to make sure that you folks are given the same respect as two-year institutions as they are. We have to make sure that your two-year institutions particularly are tied into the high school so that people can have a direct route of advancement if that's whenever it's possible. You cannot be shorted. I've been in about 8 of the technical schools across, or the community college system across the state, and in every case it's been, you are offering kind of the jobs that we absolutely need, and we need to train people for. We cannot allow you to get swallowed up or lost in the bigger, grandiose scheme of the universities.
Next question. What is your plan to preserve the environment for future residents of Minnesota?
Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to position yourself so that you keep making it better. One of the big challenges, there's 2 really big challenges, and Pat talked about one of them, which was if you have a water problem in Minnesota, you could have 7 different government agencies show up. I'll give you an example. Down in southern Minnesota, there was a 10-acre wetland, and they were going to do a $10,000 project on it. The Department of Agriculture, the Department of Natural Resources, the Pollution Control Agency, the Board of Soil and Water Resources showed up all driving from St. Paul to Jackson County. And then they had 3 local entities there, and they had an argument about who was in charge of this 10-acre wetland for a $10,000 project. They spent about $1,500 to $2,000 just getting to the meeting. That's stupid. I'm sorry. That's just plain stupid. That's the first thing. You got to clean that thing up. People have to know what's our vision, what's our goal. Once we make that decision, Then you have to say, if this is the goal, we are never going, sorry folks, I'd love to tell you I can fix it tomorrow. I can't. But what I have to do is have steps of improvement all of the time. So what we have to make sure is that we never fall backwards. So you invest in the things that you can get that maximize it. Do I want to invest in Couchiching County where 95% of the county is already a wetland? Probably if we could get more benefit down in Renville County where 103% of the wetlands have already been drained. Same thing with air quality. I hate cap and trade, not because of cap and trade accepts the status quo. It says, well, we'll just trade the pollution. No, let's get rid of the pollution. Let's figure out, I'd rather have it reduced than anything else. So those are some of the opportunities. We have this opportunity that we have to focus on being better all the time. There are some steps. We've actually gotten better on some of this in the last 15 years. When I grew up, if you flew into LA, day or night, you would never see the city of Los Angeles because of the smog. You actually can see the lights of LA if you fly into night now. So.
Last question. As governor, what can you do to help community technical college graduates find employment?
First thing we have to do is make sure that there's a relationship between the things that you're studying for and the things that the jobs of the future. So you have to have two strategies. The first strategy is you have to be investing in those future jobs. Did you know that the University of Minnesota last year had 158 patents? Only 2 of them are being developed in Minnesota. In fact, the one that just gripes me, there's one that it's over in Wisconsin in Madison. As a university, I hate the idea of going to, I can't stand the color red. But they're over in Madison, and they hired 25 people to develop this one piece of technology. There is no excuse for us to lose that. We need to set up a system where we invest, we do some angel investment, we do some investment to start small companies, because those are the companies that are going to hire you. Those are the people who are going to create the next generation job, just like we did with Medtronic. Medtronic spun out of the University of Minnesota. Honeywell, a lot of that spun out of the University of Minnesota. We have some biotechnology stuff that's happening between the U and between the Mayo right now. We will be a world leader if we are willing to make those investments, and we got to keep them here. Once we keep those companies here, then we have to train you guys for the jobs in those companies. Now, what does that mean? It means, yes, we want to prepare, we have to have 4-year institutions, but we also have to prepare on the technical side of this. There is going to be huge demands for all of the various services. Now, I'm going to answer one question that this lady asked about social services. Didn't you ask that question? Because I need to answer that for you, because I work for the Association of Minnesota Counties, and counties provide social workers, or hire the social workers. You are going to have the opportunity that nobody's ever had before. You are going to move as a social worker from being the person, at least this is what I believe and what we hope to do, from being the person that fills out the forms on behalf of the state. 40% of a social worker's time is now spent filling out forms for the state and federal government. I want to change that. We want to change that. I want you to be the case manager for those people, so that when you have a client come in, that you look and say, hey, this person needs housing, this person needs education, this person, and you know, and we're going to ask that person, we need you to quit smoking. We're going to give you the patch. We need you to get straight with the drugs. We need you to be a better parent. We need you to make sure the clothing is clean on your children, so that when your children go to school, they're not ostracized because they're coming in with dirty clothes. I reject somebody who says that we can fix education, or we can fix healthcare, or we can fix everything else if we're not looking at everything. I'm in the broken pane philosophy, window pane. Is that if we're making sure we're fixing broken window panes, we can fix everything.
Right.
I'd be happy to answer other questions, but I know you're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time.
I goofed that up. I should have said
no, it's okay. You actually answered the one question for the human service one, so it all worked out in the end.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you vote for us. I really would, but I really want you to vote. That's the single most important thing. If you don't vote, you don't get to talk up afterwards. You don't get to smart off about it. So please vote. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.